We are about to start. I would like you to introduce yourself so that it is on record as to who is present here this morning. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm Dinesh Virakodi, Chairman of the Commission.
I'm Riaz Miller, Commission Member.
Naimuddin, Secretary, Minister of Investment Promotion.
I'm Priyat Vikram, Acting Director General.
I'm Kushan Kurtak, Member of the Commission.
I am Mahinda Patmalal, National Audit Office, Senior Assistant Attorney General.
Sorry?
I am Mahinda Patmalal, Senior Assistant Attorney General, National Audit Office.
Samudika Jayaratna, Deputy Auditor General.
That's correct.
I'm Chandani Veerasinghe, Chief Accountant, Ministry.
I'm Dinusha Jayavira, Legal Officer, Ministry, Investment and Promotion.
I couldn't hear you.
Dinusha Jayavira, Legal Officer, Ministry of Investment and Promotion.
I'm UK Bandara, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Investment and Promotion.
I am Sujeeva Rajapaksa from BDO Partners, Engagement Partner of this audit.
I'm Gerard Dias, Consultant Audit, BDO Partners.
I'm Ruan Karunaratna, Director Finance, Port City Economic Commission.
I'm Bimalendra Rajat, Director General, Department Trade and Investment Policy.
I'm Vindhya Veerasekara, Director Legal and Corporate Affairs of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
So, Rohan De Silva, Colombo Port City Commission.
Dimantha Kinigama, Director, Port City Commission.
Sudat Prasanna, Additional Director, Foreign Exchange Department, Central Bank.
I'm Rukshana Jayathilaka, Additional Director, Bank Supervision Department of the Central Bank.
I'm Minoka Vikramasinghe, Director Legal of the Central Bank.
I'm Kushan Samarthunga, Senior Manager IT, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Ravan Vikramasuriya, Director Banking and Compliance, Colombo Port City.
Are there any excuses today? There was a commissioner seated at the back. Would you mind coming in front, please? Thank you.
Yes, sorry. Mr. Saleh Vikramasuriya,
Mr. Saleh Vikramasuriya has informed us he will not be able to attend. He has sent a letter and we accept that for personal reasons. Who else? UK. Who else? Is that it? That's all. Anyone absent? Any absentees, Mr. Secretary?
No.
Announcements by the Chair. Honorable Rauf Hakim has been appointed as a member of the committee to fill the vacancy occurred due to the resignation of Honorable Mujibur Rahman from the membership of the committee. A confirmation of minutes of the 17th and 18th meetings of the committee. They have been circulated. Okay. Somebody propose? Second? Okay, thank you. Business of the day, regulations under Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act number 11 of 2021, published in the Gazettes Extraordinary 2299/46 and 47, dated September 28, 2022. Before we start,
Mr. Chairman, can I say something before we start?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Before we start, is there anything that you would like to bring to our attention, please?
No, just I want to say something. The last meeting, unfortunately, I was on leave, so that's why I couldn't attend the meeting. And what is this? You had raised two issues. One was on the website and the accounts. And I'm pleased to say that those two issues have been resolved. So I thought maybe it's better to say that at the start of the meeting so that we don't get into a debate. Yeah, with a positive thing. And also, for the record, I must say that most of these commissioners are working pro bono. So that day, actually, we were given that letter one day before, right? So that's why we couldn't. I would have others found some way of coming for that meeting. So please, please accept our apologies.
Your apologies are accepted, Mr. Chairman. I'm really glad that we were able to push you to get this done within a matter of 4 days, which was delayed by almost a year.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for finishing the audit. Thank you very much for having an online presence.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. I also want to apologize myself. That day, by mistakenly, Salia said since April I was appointed, but I was not participating to any meeting. That's incorrect. I was appointed in March, and since then I have never missed any commission meeting. And I was chairing management committee meeting every week. I was attending every week, day to day, and I'm working voluntarily to the commission, sir.
Right, Dr. Vikram, thank you for that. I have a question that is arising from what you just mentioned. How many commission meetings are you supposed to have in a year? Is it specified or is it
every month? Every month.
Every month.
Every month.
So since when 2000, say last year, how many commissions meetings did you have?
Except during the change of the chairman and December, we had every month meeting.
So we had 10 meetings.
Yes.
Is that, and this year you had one or not?
This year we are going to have a meeting tomorrow.
Right.
Today, sorry.
Right.
Today.
Right. Anything else, members, you want to raise from last? It's a positive no. Can you submit to us or have you submitted to Parliament the audited accounts?
And it is addressed to President, and from the President's office it will come to Parliament.
Auditor General, just one moment. Auditor General, now what is the procedure when an audit is completed?
Yeah, we have to submit the audit reports together with the account set to the relevant minister. To the relevant minister. In this case, relevant minister is the President. That's why we have submitted the opinion to the President, and we have submitted another 4 copies to the Commission also.
Right, so you have actually submitted it to the minister in charge, who happens to be the President.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It
So
says,
when
to submit to the President or the event that the subject minister.
First priority is President.
Or the subject minister.
Appointed that him as another minister, that is to the minister. That's
Okay,
what it says.
okay, right. Sorry, somebody was saying something.
That's
what
right,
I said,
no?
yeah.
Because the commission is appointed, 7-member commission is appointed directly by the President.
President.
Yeah. Arising from the discussion we had last time, we raised the issue on the shareholding structure. Right? We asked that question. Would you be kind enough to explain to us the factual situation? Well, the question was, who owns the Colombo Port City Economic Commission? That was the question.
So may I?
One is the commission, which is the regulatory body that understands. It's directly appointed by the President with a chairperson and a DG.
Yes.
7-member commission. Or 5 to 7.
Yes.
One can, if you want, you can go up to 7, maximum 7. So that's the regulatory body. I understand this because it's almost like the UGC, you know. Right, yeah.
So the difference was, is UGC or any other a corporate body corporate?
Yes.
Now this is a body corporate, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, since it is a body corporate, the question was, the commission shall, by the name assigned to it under subsection 1, be a body corporate. So whether, if it was a body corporate, we looked at the constitution, the interpretation of a body corporate, and that was the contradiction we had. So please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Chairman, so the commission, as you correctly mentioned, is a body corporate as set out in section 3(1) of the Act. And under the Constitution, 170 says, if the capital is partly or wholly granted by the government, it is a corporate body. And the government has granted the Colombo Port City Economic Commission land, which is the Port City land. In 2021, August 12, the President granted it. That forms the capital of the Commission, sir. So therefore, we are a public corporation in terms of 170 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
What you could do under this commission?
So the Commission's objectives are set out in the Act, Port City Economic Commission Act.
That is how you differ from UGC and any other public corporation. You have a special privilege.
Honorable Raghavan?
Yeah, they while they are in the nature commission, they differ from two others. One is like a human rights commission. This is not like this. They have been, I don't know why the word commission came there. This is kind of a small technical issue
even,
there.
Even
right?
BOI came
Yes.
as a Colombo
That's
Greater
right.
Economic Commission.
Yeah, so, but that commission, same word used here, has a different connotation. While you are appointed by president, but this acts, also acts as a company, under registered company limited. So
It's
you
a
have
business
dual,
entity.
Yeah, so you have dual thing. One is your policy maker itself on one hand, and then you are monitoring the business itself. Now, for instance, UGC and Human Rights Commission are the two different bodies.
That is correct, Honorable Member. That was the confusion.
That's right.
So this is now clear. Thank you, because all this time this clarification was not made. This is the first time this clarification is being made here. So while it is a commission by name, it is in fact a corporate entity.
Yeah. That's
right.
That wears a dual hat
Yes.
of like a chairman and a CEO, or regulator and a player.
There, Chairman, if you permit me, since we are on the same topic, there I see a futuristic danger, because you make your own principles which are supposed to be monitoring, and then you also are the implementing body, right? So there can be intra-contradictory interest, you know, I mean, we have seen this. As we grow, there can be new challenges. Secondly, with last week's judgment, the Act Chapter 3.20 is in question now. It says, this commission is not liable to any of the local or foreign court cases, any of the commission members. They are freed from this. So-
Well, I mean, Honorable Member.
But then I'm just lighting it, you may have to work on that.
All right.
Because last week judgment, it said, the new 7-member judge bench said, no. We are bringing in new, there's a particular technical word for that.
Which one is
That will be implemented in Sri Lanka. So one can cite you later. You be careful. One can cite you and say,
Honorable Member, now the first clause is the commission is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal and may sue and be sued in such name.
yeah, that's right. That is then being counteracted, like all our acts. Chapter 3.20 counteracts that.
Sorry, I'm not sure of what
Act-
you're
Act
referring to.
again.
What you're referring to? What
It says
judgment?
all commission members are.
Which judgment is this?
No, the Acts Chapter 3.
Yeah.
Point 20, clause 20 says, all 7 members are unliable. I don't know what's the word unliable. You know more English than me. Unliable or non-liable? Immunity, right?
Yeah,
okay.
immunity.
From any case that we arise, probably negligence or all those matters, either a local court or a foreign court.
AG's office, can you educate us on that, please?
Anybody?
I think in my knowledge, first one refers to the
No,
commission.
I'm just referring to the AG, Deputy Solicitor General. Oh, sorry. Who's from the AG's office?
No. නෑ මම කියන්නේ ඒක ඒ ක්ලාස් එක තියෙන නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ෆ්‍රීඩම් එක යට වැඩ කරන්න මොකද එක්කෙනෙක් කියන්න පුළුවන් අන්න අර ජජ්මන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා 7 මෙම්බර් ඒක නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලයබල් කියලා. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රවේශයෙන් වැඩ කරන්න.
Avanti, Dr. Avanti Pereira, Dr. Mrs. Avanti Pereira. Where is he? Can you call and find out where she is? Please, thank you. Yeah, we will come back to that.
Yeah, that's something we have to check. No?
So let's get to the meat of the business. So what we have done, our analysts basically went through the regulations and prepared a note for our use. What we will do is we will share it with you so that we can just follow that. Some of it are self-explanatory and we can just say yes and no, move to the next one. Some have some clarifications that need to be made. You all got that copy, right?
Not.
Where is the copy?
hard copies ගෙනෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කියනවනම් අපිට announce කරන්න අපි laptop ගේන්නේ නැහැ. I like that.
Yes, so we will bring the laptops.
ඒක දාන්න බෑ දෙකක් දාන්න බෑ screen එකේ බලන්න බලන්න එතකොට හරියන්නේ.
Oh, pull on. Where are the hard copies you made? Then
Ideally, we should have sent them earlier so that they could have also had.
Yeah, we decided on that just today. No, might as well just take a look at it so it's easy, everybody's on the same page.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Hikma Khan.
Give one copy to him. Yeah. And one copy to him. One copy to her. One copy to him.
So we look at the /46 Gazette, right? So what this Gazette does is it provides, legislation provides a breakdown of the application process for persons interested in conducting business within the port city and the Economic Commission's capacity and process of accepting and I guess approving such applications. That's what it is, no?
Yes.
These set of regulations?
Yeah.
Correct. So part 1, license obtaining procedure. After submission of an application, a letter of approval is provided in principle. Commission to act as a single window investment facilitator. Once all legal and regulatory requirements are met and the Commission is satisfied, license will be granted. License is valid for a period of 1 year, correct?
Yes.
So this is the basic thing that you want to do. Now the comments are, is there a timeline for the evaluation process for an application once it is submitted to the Commission?
Chairman, sir, the timeline hasn't been defined, right? Because it's going to be dependent on the complexities of the project that's coming in. But when we did our benchmarking studies, we've sort of identified that certain types of industries, certain types of businesses, approvals are given within relatively very short time frames. Whereas what we define as secondary investors, if you're a primary investor coming in to buy a plot of land and then do a development, those types of projects would generally take longer.
Do you have any specific tools that kind of business are you going to promote?
The idea was, sorry, if I can come up on the presentation, I think the chairman of the committee had requested for a presentation. Is it possible to put this up on the...
Yes, it is. It's on that screen.
Oh dear, very small.
It's too small.
Too small, sorry about that. Anyway.
My fear is that otherwise it will happen the same thing like in BOI.
No.
You will end up in having all sort of businesses which are not necessary for making any profit.
Absolutely, sir. So I think when the commission was established or the special economic zone was established, the idea created here, unlike in Sri Lanka has a long history of special economic zones. It's nothing new to this country. The idea of creating the Colombo Port City is a special economic zone that's focusing primarily and solely on the service sector, right? We are looking at transforming where everything else is heavy manufacturing, etc. And this was the focus. So there were a list of what is defined as thrust sectors also coming from the Act. They come from international trade, shipping, logistics, banking, corporate headquarters operations, regional distribution centers, then of course tourism, retail operations, retail industry, of course education and healthcare services, etc. And professional services. So
not any longer the financial hub or whatever.
No,
the financial hub.
Offshore banking is mentioned even in the Act.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
No, I mean, earlier it was named as Colombo Financial whatever.
No. Now it has changed and it has gone little beyond that financial
the
center
scope
concept.
is much broadened.
Yeah, much broadened.
On the issue of the process, now Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka and Telangana and the new state, they also have these promotion schemes. No? When I when I read their process, it says that you are number of steps. Once an individual or a company applies, you acknowledge your application, first of all. You say we have received such date and give a file number, whatever. Then you give within 1 week there saying that this is estimated time of processing. So that person, because if you have to take environmental authority, but then of course The Act says that this area is a different area. It's a particular area which the laws, that's why the debate, Parliament debate also came. For instance, environment, do we have to get Environment Authority clearance if there is a project that's sensitive, let's say hospital, so waste management comes, right? Medical waste management comes. So does the existing law applies to the same zone, or the zone has its own laws?
If you don't mind, Honorable Member, we come to that later
Right,
on.
okay, sure.
So shall we just,
Process,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So should you have some timelines defined, or you don't think it is necessary?
When we come through the benchmarking study, so when we came up with these two regulations, the application form and the fee structure, there was a benchmarking study that was done, right? We started initially with 8 special economic zones and jurisdictions globally. We narrowed it down to 4, right, when we went down to the deep dive. And the 4 that we narrowed it down to were DIFC and the Dubai Multi-Commodity Exchange based in the UAE. And then, of course, Singapore and Mauritius, which are more jurisdictions. When we looked at these, they don't really have a time frame set in place. But when you look at these instances, generally speaking, within about a week, the approvals are given, and it is.
But then, if I may, right?
Yes.
I mean, Singapore and the Mauritius, they are actually the entire thing is special economic zone. No?
Correct.
Right. So there are no two conflicting laws. Right. It's one and the same, isn't it? Now you are not looking at a financial center inside Singapore, no?
Okay.
You're looking at Singapore.
Correct. The benchmarking study looked at Singapore.
For the country of Singapore, right?
Yes.
And then you are looking for the country of Mauritius. The state of Mauritius. So I mean, there are constitutionally defined or whatever the existing legal infrastructure or the laws that define these things, as opposed to, say, the DIFC, right, which is an entity within the UAE.
That's correct.
Right? So there may be 2 different sets of laws that apply to DIFC and the UAE.
That's
however
correct.
liberal the UAE may be. Right? So my point is, why do you not compare like with like? Right? Singapore and Mauritius is one. Colombo is more like DIFC as opposed to Singapore and Mauritius.
Last year,
Chairman, actually we took DIFC and DMCC actually the for the main comparison, but took Singapore and Mauritius to get some of the inputs into the studies. But basic comparison goes with DIFC and DMCC.
Dr. Priya, I'm not an economist, I confess, right? So I don't try to, there are economists here. But reading into this, just reading, not studying, Poland seems to have, the last years, the Economist Intelligence report has recognized Poland as the European model success. They give awards, right? The Polish model seems to be very close to us because the Poland country is socialist. Now, our constitution says we are socialist. Therefore, we have all the other rights of the 158 rights, I think, workers have. But then they create this port separately in order to go with the new world globalized market. So how do they manage these two? The parliament is dealing with the same thing. I think it will be a good term of reference or case study for you.
We'll do that actually.
Why don't you do that?
Sure, we'll
come
do
back
that.
to us on that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But I just want to. I'm sorry, you're Mr. No.
Revan. R-E-V-A-N.
Revan.
Vikramasuriya.
Mr. Vikramasuriya, could you tell us whether you want to have some sort of timelines or not? That's our question.
We have.
We should look at a scorecard. Don't measure anything, it doesn't get done. So I like that idea. So
okay.
And we have created a portal that can do that. So it's defined as a workflow. So that entire workflow can actually happen within hours. So as long as, because it's all you have to do is to make a decision, yes or no decision. And then moment that happens, it gets connected to the ROC, to
it's roll on.
All the other places. So I mean, the benchmark, I believe why we couldn't do it within 48 hours for a secondary investor. The primary, of course, we have to look at lots of other things, but for a secondary investor who wants to start a headquarters or whatever, I think within 24 hours, we should be able to approve.
Mr. Kodituaku, that's an excellent suggestion. I mean, I think you should look at it and see whether you can, because when we started thinking about this, I recall the first meeting we had with PwC, the consultants at the time. What we said is, if we can be in the top 10, let's do it. Otherwise, let's not even think about it.
Yeah. So
right?
what-
So you have to have a completely different way in which we do things here. Huh?
Mindset and a template.
Yeah, because, I mean, if this works, then we can apply what works to the rest of the country. And
sir-
so we must aim at the very, very top.
Absolutely, that's what we did, Chairman. We told ENY was supposed to be the one who was going to do our process. And they gave us the process workflow. And the scope that we told them is we want to be the best, or number 1, 2, or 3 in the world in ease of doing business. And if we can't get there, we would hold ENY responsible. So that's the scope, because since we are starting with a clean sheet of paper, there is no reason why Sri Lanka can't be number 1 in this. As long as
I completely agree with you, and I think that's kind of the aim that we should have. Yeah, so let's work on that, and let's look at some timelines, let's look at this transparent thing, and like Mr. Chairman said, you can come up with some internal guidelines. It doesn't have to go into a gazette.
You may also look at case studies. You have an international marketing and research team.
We have consultants. We actually work with PwC and EY. Yeah.
Romania and Colombia and the Latin American bloc. I was just, because I'm speaking to a professional body, I need to at least read and update myself. The last 2 years in Latin American bloc, Romania and Costa Rica and Colombia had got the awards. So you may study there later, so that we work with the winners, right? So
We'll do that.
We can go up from that platform. No?
We'll do that.
Okay, so the next one, let's move to the next one.
Ireland wanted us to look at Canary Wharf and the Docklands also. Yeah, to get some inspiration.
Yeah, so next one is there a special fee applicable for a company that is to obtain a certificate of registration?
No, there's no any special fee. They have to pay only one fee.
Was that something that was raised for, why was it raised?
I think there were 2 issues, Chairperson. One was the amount. The Act says 1% of the investment will be the overall, I don't remember the page now.
But that is when we lease the land allocated for check, we get 1%
and then we
out
had
of
this
that.
$4,000 or $400 first payment, and then I think the question was, what is the rationale that we came? Is it
This is not that.
No, this is not that.
This is not that.
This is about the application fee.
Application fee covers
Fine.
One payment that is apart from, in addition to 1%, which is
It's a latter part. It's a latter thing. It's a latter issue.
That's a separate.
Yeah. Does the
to process the application.
the process application?
There is a-
1,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
We compare
That's a
with-
block fee.
It's a block fee to start processing. So once you send the application, they have to send an application fee.
Yeah. So next one, does the resubmission happen only after a letter of approval is initially issued? There's a follow-up to it. Because the word amend is used, implying that already prior to the resubmission, a letter of approval was issued. And now, after the resubmission, the issued letter of approval was amended accordingly. Or is it possible that a resubmission can be done before a letter of approval is issued?
So this actually comes after the initial process. They want to change something after the initial process only. This comes in, sir.
So is that all right? The representative from the AG's office is here, right?
Yes.
Right.
Since the numbers are small, how many applications we have got so far after the initiation of this?
7, right?
No.
7.
Yeah. there
For
are
a
about
period of?
Sorry?
For a period of?
We've got about 7 parties that have shown interest. Yeah.
Within the period of 2 years since its operation?
No.
No.
Maybe after
The
Gazette, after May last year.
Last year, May.
Yeah. Because initially we were doing nothing like, we were preparing tenders,
Right.
consultants and all.
Right.
So after May, like.
After May, of course, I'm surprised that even you got 7 applications because we were going through turmoil. No?
Yeah.
So there is no need to change this? Is that fine?
Sir, may I explain?
Yes, please.
So what it means is approval in principle is granted at a approval in principle is granted upon the application submitted by the applicant. And before the license is granted, if he wants to amend any particulars, this is the resubmission we talk of. Actually, we've adopted the DIFC process here.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then the next one is 5E3. We are going in the order of the Gazette. In what capacity and how does the Commission check the accuracy of the details provided? Especially, shouldn't this phase be carried out prior to issuing a letter of approval?
Chair,
For example,
I have a comment on that. Once you finish.
for example, in the application, it is sufficient to provide that the authorized person submits details of the 10 largest shareholders if the authorized person has more than 10 shareholders. How would the Commission determine the truthfulness that the details provided are pertaining to the 10 largest shareholders? This may happen if the applicant is an offshore banking or an offshore company to withhold information for some reason. Or, for example, how would the Commission determine the accuracy of the past records, convictions of the application? Or, for example, how would the Commission determine the accuracy of the financial performance details provided by the applicant? Would a separate audit be required or one that has already been carried out to determine any malpractices or manipulations in the numbers? Or, for example, how the Commission determine the accuracy of the details provided in the education section of individual partners, etc.?
Chair, with your permission, I think these are valid questions, but the spirit of the Commission, if they are going to dig into this, they will not be able to even present and approve a single application, because these are beyond our capacity. So what we do is, what Telangana does is, they get a signature saying any of these details found to be wrong at any given time, nothing will be given and they have to pay a penalty. It's like it's a law in passive law or active law. If you take the active law side, we have to do all this, and they may come out with again. Then we have to have kind of, I don't know how you are planning. I mean, you said your consultancy is very good idea, 7 members, and my suggestion is don't have more than 25 members to work for your commission full time. I have UGC.
We have actually 11.
UGC has 75, my ministry has 385. All that we are doing is supposed to be policy making.
It's only 11.
So ඒක නිසා chairman මම කියන්නේ අපි ownership එක දාන්න ඕනේ applicant ගෙන්. applicant මොන හරි වරදක් කරලා තිබුණා නම් they null and void.
ඒක තමයි දාලා
ඒක
තියෙන්නේ.
legally අසං කරගන්න.
Absolutely, because these are some of the flaws that we found that in the act it says to go this way.
Yeah.
But if you do this, we can't get our ease of doing business right to the top.
Could we invite the AG's department representative also to come in front so that, you know, she can, yeah. If you don't mind, please. Yes, go ahead. Yes. So therefore, you're just happy with the way it is structured.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why I'm
Yeah.
for that. I mean, now the authority is here.
Yes, if
But
he-
do we have that legal clause that any given time we find?
Yes.
Right. So then I think it's covered.
Right. But then, along with that, this next question arises. In the register which contain details of the authorized person,
Which
right,
section are
which
you
is to be maintained by the commission, is
Chair,
in
which section are you reading?
the same point in the note. This is
Part
8D in the Gazette.
In the Gazette, okay.
Yeah, 8D, right? We are going in order of the Gazette. So, is information such as share register of the company accessible to people to inform who the ultimate owners of the company are? These are generally accessible to the public under the Companies Act, which however doesn't apply for authorized persons conducting business in the port city. This may become a concern for offshore companies due to the possibility of money laundering.
Yes, so there would be a register which would be accessible, and that would be accessible electronically, and that would have the details of the applicant and the shareholders, etc.
So it is open to the public?
That is,
Just
yes.
like the company's
Correct.
details, one can get
Chairperson, with your permission, there are other independent international watchdogs whom you have to subscribe. Then you can access their database and find out whether these companies are blacklisted and what problems they had and what kind of things that they did. I think those are small fees, like paying to a library reference. You pay them so that when you are, while you are doing business, you check with your team, research team or whatever, and then if they are found to be, you...
Yeah, so that is due diligence that usually happens.
Yeah.
So KYC.
But some are not published.
No, you know your customer.
KYC. essential, no?
is,
Right. Then general conditions, part 2, register with details of authorized persons conducting business is accessible to the public to the extent determined by the Commission. That's what you're saying, right? For any change in the details shown in the application submitted, the licensee has to submit a form within 30 days of the occurrence of such change. Maintain and prepare financial statements on an annual basis, and after approval of financial statement, annual return has to be submitted. So that is what the regulations say. The questions are, should the register containing details of the authorized person have a standard format rather than it being at the full discretion of the Commission? How will the register be available to the public? Now that has been established, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is up to the Commission to decide how, in what form it is published, or is there some standard format?
It's basically the applicant's name, the applicant's address, a registered address, the shareholders of the application, shareholders of the authorized person, etc. So it is there would be a template, and every applicant, the details of every applicant would be accessible online.
And with the numbers, with the registration numbers.
Do you have a description of the nature of the business they like to do?
In the application side?
It's
Yeah, they have to submit.
Part 2 of the profile.
And actually they have to submit, otherwise they cannot get the incentives. Okay, there's a categories, so to fall into that, yes.
Now in India, of course, a bigger market, they have their own national watchdog groups, volunteer watchdog groups. Whatever the information you give, they are investigative. They go after this company and then inform you and say, no, hey, there's a red flag. How about this company? Many of the, so I think maybe there are activists who wish to
come, all these things
will fall in.
come into play, yeah.
Whether we should encourage that, university final year students and professors who are.
Do we have to emphasize on those? I mean, first of all,
Now the biggest struggle would be to get
Yeah.
investors. So let's work on it and be a bit flexible. I don't think that we'll have all sort of tougher regulation.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are just trying to help you here, right? We are just trying to make sure that,
You will get maximum investors.
Right? I mean, let me reiterate, we want this to succeed, right? And it is in that spirit we are doing this. How long will the Commission take for reconsideration and issuance of all amended documentation and make changes to the register? So is there, once again, is this about timeline issues?
Internally, we actually have set up, we have to finish everything within 48 hours. Even actually for the clearance also, we have set up a model now. Yeah. So those things, internally we have benchmarks. Yes.
Okay. Then on these records, financial statements, right? Records are open to inspection by an auditor or the Commission. Records. If there are discrepancies, what would be the next steps?
There's another regulations to come with penalties.
Yes, there is another regulation, sir.
It's in here?
Not
yet, sir.
It's
We
coming.
are finalizing the document.
You're drafting
Adding
more
it, no?
regulations.
Yeah,
So
adding.
it comes with penalties, sir.
Okay, so to answer this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Part 3, interim provisions. So the Commission will grant permission under Part 3 in writing to allow authorized person to conduct business at an approved rate outside the CPC. Right?
We call this CPC.
CPCC.
Bad omen to start with, no?
Right.
It's
So-
Colombo Port City.
Right. So the original thinking was infrastructure is going to take time, and then you can rent a tower in this city perhaps, and then start business. Yes.
Initial 5 years till
Yes.
2024.
So the question is there a criterion that qualifies an authorized person to conduct business in a designated approved location? So, I mean, would you would define, or would the applicant say, look, yeah.
They can choose. They can choose the location.
Now, let me ask a practical question. Let's say the applicant is on the 25th floor of the WTC, right? And then people who are working in the 25th floor don't have to pay taxes. They are paid in US dollars. People on the 27th floor
has to pay.
Has to
pay. Has to pay.
Yeah. So, in terms of sort of managing labor and, you know, the distortion in the labor market, you know, particularly, Mr. Chairman, you are very much an expert in this field. How will that be dealt with? I mean, if you go beyond that, even after the Port City Commission is fully established, on this side of the Gold Road, you have to pay 36% tax. And you are subjected to whatever the inflation rate is. On the other side of the Gold Road, you are paid in US dollars and you pay no tax. So suppose you are a waiter at the Kingsbury. Why would she want to remain at the Kingsbury as opposed to moving across the road and perhaps even getting a job at the McDonald's probably will be better off?
So, Chairman, I had a conversation with some of the agencies on this issue because some of these big guys are very interested in setting up an office there because of this, because they can pay their staff in dollars. So what they said was, what they told me was they will structure HR policies where they will hire the top talent, the key critical talent through that through the port city, so that they can handcuff them over a period of time, given the fact that we are losing good talent continuously. So I think we have to leave it to the company to plan and design their own HR policies to manage that. But I agree with you, there can be a fallout, especially within the labor structure.
That isn't it?
Mr. Honorable Bandar.
Now, having too many rules and regulations, we have always missed the boat. I don't think that we should look for tougher. You know, I mean, we are not in a.
They are neither lawyers nor prison officers.
Right. So therefore,
we must leave it to the companies. It's
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, I mean, having too many jurisdiction.
Real policy
information
from them.
No, I mean, let us ask the AG's department for a clarification on this. I mean, equal rights, are they being sort of tampered with here, or?
Reasonable classification, and that's the basis on which even under the BOI company has exemptions. So the port city was considered in the same light. So, but these risks we were alerted to, and that, as was discussed, would be a matter of policy, how each individual company will try to find ways to maintain their staff and not.
Definitely, it will be happen in such a way.
Yeah, that is a
because if the investors are coming from different part of the world, aren't they?
And here, sir, everybody has to bring dollars from outside to do business. Otherwise, they can't do anything. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is an important point, because if it converges towards the top end, the dollar salaries, it's okay. Because it's a market. It's supply and demand. But what if it converges downwards? What if it converges downwards? I mean, you have an accountant who is paid 400,000 rupees in the fort, and you have an accountant who is paid, $100,000 on the other side, right? I mean, there is going to be demand and supply. So,
later we can debate on this. But isn't it the whole spirit of this?
That will bring dollars to the country.
Isn't it the spirit of this whole thing? Now you say, let's say you are CIM, another person CIM. You manage to join a company which pays you in dollars.
No. So
isn't it the market competition that we are talking about?
No. So that is why we are talking about sort of the distortion in the marketplace, right? I mean, markets can be distorted by various individuals, companies that, have their own rules. I mean, this is not just happening here, it's just happening in other places.
But over a period of time, I mean, you are the Missouri professor on this market thing, so I will agree with you. But I'm saying that is competition that comes is by step injecting, and that's the whole restructuring of the organic.
No. Competition is ceteris paribus, no. That is everything else remaining the same.
I
so
don't.
Everything else is not. I'm just raising a question, Honorable Raghavan. I'm just saying, because normally in economics you assume that others remain the same and you're actually trying to focus on one matter. In this case, others are not remaining the same. So it is not your typical competition example. This is not so. These are two separate markets. So all what I'm saying is keep that in mind, because that is certainly going to be an issue in time to come. So as long as you have addressed that and have thought about it, then I'm okay with that, because it's a policy matter, not a legal issue.
And bottom line should be that dollars come into the country.
The bottom line should be that our people get better jobs and better salaries. So as long as it's converging towards the top end of the market, that should be okay, as long as it doesn't go down.
I think looking at the world politics, I wish if it happens, but I don't think tomorrow morning you are going to get 500 applications now. So there is time frame. We learn as we go.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think your point is valid, but I think Sri Lanka is over-regulated. And I think we should leave it to the companies, I think. That's my humble opinion.
That's the point that Professor Bandara brought in.
Right. So are there any criteria? I mean, can somebody set up his or her office in, Anuradhapura and say, this is where my office is, but interim for 5 years I'm going to be here? Or do you say it is within the Colombo business district, or is there some eligibility criteria? Or?
We don't need that.
We don't need.
In this act doesn't say anything.
As long as money comes from overseas.
No.
That says outside area of authority.
So, but then how do you regulate this? I mean, let's say you set up an interim office in Anuradhapura, right? You're operating out of Anuradhapura. I mean, is there a mechanism to ensure that all the regulations are being adhered to?
Definitely, sir. Every year they have to come to us. They have to show all the details properly, auditor accounts, everything. Otherwise, we will not extend.
Annual, no?
Yeah, it's license. It's only annual.
No, this is not the license. No, this is to operate.
Yeah, so if they no license, they can't operate.
No. You get a license to operate. Right now, say you want to run some company in Port City. Port City infrastructure is not ready, but you are operating out of Anuradhapura, and you are saying, give me a license to operate out of my premises in Anuradhapura, but with these tax benefits. Okay, with these facilities. So the question is, if you are remote, far away, what is the way in which you monitor that person is adhering to the regulations of the Port City Economic Commission? That's the question. Yes.
So what the Act says is under section 64(1), an authorized person can function outside the area of authority as an interim measure in a location designated by the president or the subject minister.
So that is a question I asked. You all said something else? No. That is a question I asked. And then you said no. You said they can operate out of wherever that office is currently located. And when I asked whether it can be...
It has to be.
When you say interim period, is it specified?
Yes,
5
it is
years.
specified, says.
So then you can't operate out of Anuradhapura unless the president specifies Anuradhapura.
Unless the president or the minister
or
shared powers with the commission.
So that
the
was
commission can decide that.
No, that was a question. That was a question. The answer was incorrect. If you admit it was incorrect, we can.
So you have basically you have a control over. You grant the permission for them to operate in with location. That would come with your ability of supervising and monitoring them whether they are adhering to the prima facie criterion that the chairperson is asking about.
Sir, that's correct. But the location will have to be designated by the president or the
minister or possibly the commission.
No. It says
It's
the
a
minister.
minister.
So the minister has to designate. Let's say, for example, Shangri-La Tower or World Trade Center or the new John Keel's building or something like that. If it is designated
Yes.
only in those places, so you, unless Anuradhapura is designated, you can't operate at Anuradhapura. Thank you. Then, right, so that was a question. So that eligibility criteria is determined by the minister in charge, and that, so that can be monitored. Then the part 4, extension of licenses, section 24 in the Gazette, 28 in the Act. What is the timeline for license renewal process? Is a late applicant for license renewal able to carry out daily operations during the time in which the license is being renewed?
Yeah, I think.
License renewal process is
So you encourage them the 11th month or the 10th month to apply. You give them and you send a proactive notice to them, right? Depending on your time. I mean, these are basic common sense, no? But if they don't comply to that, then their onus is on their side because they are not applying.
They can't apply.
So every 10th month you generate an auto alarming to them and requesting them to apply and keep to the criterion.
So then it...
Proactively. You have to do that proactively.
Yeah, it's within the system, sir.
Okay.
So then what it means is, then they cease to operate, cease to function if the license is
not
obtained by the...
Yeah, so you're assuming here if you apply in the 11th month, within the 11th month, you will approve it.
Yes.
If you make a mistake and don't approve it in the 11th month, then the onus is on you to let that person continue to operate. As long as that is legally possible, I'm okay. But it has to be legally possible because you are taking a big responsibility and you are saying you will do it. What if something happens? Your computer system crashes. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? As long as that person doesn't turn around and sue you saying it was your fault.
Then, sir, we need to give a temporary extension, something like that. If there's a
So that's
situation like that.
Yeah,
that will put it. That we will put it, sir.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Then you have
Surrender of
part
license.
6, surrender of licenses. So what that means is application to be submitted to surrender license. License will be cancelled if business does not commence within 6 months. License will be cancelled if business contravenes provisions or regulations. The questions are, who would monitor whether the authorized person will not engage in any other activity in the 3 months prior to making an application under Regulation 26? Is there a standard document to be filled for any person that may have cause to ensure the license is not cancelled?
question is
Not clear, no.
Question is not clear to you?
So surrender of license 26C, right?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Application to be submitted to surrender license.
So you have to apply to give up your license?
Yes.
You have to apply to give up your license?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
There, Chair, may I raise a question?
Yes, please.
With this, attached to this is that as I seen, I was interested in media, appointed to look into the media business. No. Now transfer and resell of this license. You all are silent on this. Now ex-applicant takes it and waits for about 2 years without operating anything, and the market grows, and he or she goes and sells the license. Now this is what happened at Monarch. Now all these 118 mini hydros license are taken, but mini hydros are only in license, and they are marketing, auctioning those licenses at Monarch upstairs.
Here, if you don't do anything within first year itself, license automatically will cancel.
Okay, right.
So
but can they, after taking 3 months from you, license from you, resell to a party? Take a silent method.
because all the details of the authorized person, their shareholders are already given. So they can't sell to it. We have said there will be a separate regulation for that, for the process.
හරි ඒකලන් කියලා තියෙන්නේ license owner only can operate කියලා. නමුත් විකුණන්න බෑ, transfer කරන්න බෑ කියලා කොහෙවත් මේක very silent මේක.
Yes, that's close. We have, I think. Yeah.
They can transfer the company, no? So
They can
sold
transfer the company,
the company,
permission.
then they have to change the...
And you can't impose a law. Like
No, we cannot restrict them selling the company, but they have to.
shareholders.
They must be shareholders, they must be at liberty to do that under the Prevailing Companies Act.
May I answer this? It is in regulation. Under Part 5 it says license issued to a qualified as an authorized person shall not be transferred. Is non-transferable and may not be assigned to any other party.
That's correct.
So the process for any transfer
So there are reapplication and
Yeah.
reconsideration. Yeah.
Company can be so.
That's allowed to.
Company,
Whatever
yeah.
whatever that can be done under the Companies
Companies
Law
Act,
is permitted.
Yeah. They can sell shares.
Yeah. Like a strange entity cannot come, but the same entity can operate as per the laws of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, sir, then they will have to again give the 10 shareholders, chief shareholders, their names will also have to be disclosed.
They have to amend.
Yeah.
But it's permitted,
That's
as you
consequent,
correctly said, yes. Under the
Why
Companies
did we use 3 months prior to making an application under Regulation 26? Was there any reason for that? Included in the Gazette. What is the 3 months? That's in the Gazette? 26?
I think this is from DIFC. Can you tell? This is from DIFC. This one.
An authorized person shall not be entitled to make an application under this regulation if at any time in the previous 3 months the authorized person has A, changed its name, traded or otherwise carried on business, engaged in other activity other than those unnecessary, blah, blah, blah. Why is that 3 months? Is there a reason for that? Or?
So that came in from the DIFC regulations. So we don't want to see if there's a company established, right? A new entity established to come in and apply for authorized person license, right? We would like to ensure that has some history and it's not like a shell company created and immediately shareholders are changed. So that sort of comes in from a KYC and a due diligence perspective.
So in the original application, you don't call for like 3 years of existence or anything like that. Any startup can register.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
why is the 3 months here then? What difference does it make? If a startup can apply, why do you want to have this 3 months clause?
Changes.
Name, trade, yeah.
If it is changed.
So if a startup is there, it's a startup. But then the question was, okay, a startup comes in today, in 1 month's time they change the name, right? Yes, we understand you can go and create another legal entity with that new name, right? So this is to do some checks and balances as to why those names are changed within such a short period.
But then we were just told that you can do whatever you want within the Companies Act. In the Companies Act, you can change the name, change the directors, change
At any
anything
time.
you want. So why is that? Why are you discriminating a company like that?
We can, again, this came in from the studies that were done on the due diligence, but it can be looked at and your concerns are noted and we can go back to advisors and have a look at it and see the validity of it.
Point,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
When you're saying startup, you come and then you are asking 3 months.
The 3 month period.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just look into that and see
Sure,
that,
sir.
you know,
We'll look into
it is fair to every corporate entity.
And does not cause unnecessary hindrances.
Yeah.
26.
Is there a standard document to be filed for any person that may have cause to ensure the license is not cancelled? What does that mean? That means you you can't just take away the license. Is that what the point is here?
Yeah, as I understand, this is very clear at the beginning of the application itself. Once the license is granted, the renewal of the license, ownership is largely on the investor. But we proactively agreed to send messages to them by the 10th month and say, you are due to apply now. So they prepare and bring. If they don't do that by the, let's say, 1 year and two weeks, for some reason, power cuts or some reason, they can't give a grace period, then they are willfully not applying.
Well, I mean, that is not specified in this
ඒක තමයි. ඒ
set
ටික
of
දාගන්න.
regulations. I mean, you have to be clear, no? I mean, that's all. I think
Otherwise,
the
open
point
to
is very...
interpretation and all those
Yeah,
things will
so
come.
we'll move to the next one. Surcharges and fines. In the event of an offence under this Act, the Commission will determine whether to initiate legal proceedings or in lieu of proceedings with legal, the authorized person may be fined an amount the Commission may think fit. Right? So the question is, should the surcharge and penalty amounts be specified rather than being at the discretion of the Commission? If a party involved in business wants to lodge a complaint against the authorized person and requires legal action to be taken, will this also be decided by the Commission?
Sir, actually, these regulations are being drafted now, the surcharges and penalties, it will be coming.
So don't you need those in
Yeah,
approved
you have to,
now?
You have to have a time frame now and get it done, no? Otherwise.
We are
Okay.
for commission.
These regulations.
No, what I'm saying is here you are talking about penalties, right? Now, what you're saying is you're drafting the regulations on what the penalties are. So if an investor, a serious investor is looking into coming in, he or she might want to know what those penalties are, in fact, to have certainty, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
When can you all, what is the target date?
Sir, all the regulations would complete by quarter 1 and quarter 2. What we
Quarter 2,
request-
that is May.
No, not these.
Tho-
There
tho-
are like-
these
we
are-
have about 24 regulations.
AG office is aware that they are asking your opinion.
No, not quarter 2 as in the other. There are about 24 regulations to be published, sir.
Okay.
So these were the priority.
So are they at the AG consultation level or at your legal department? Where are they?
In the process of
It's final stage.
Positive
of
way.
draft.
Avante pe AG office?
we sent to the ministry, they followed the
And then to the legal draftment, and then goes to the Gazette.
Yeah, so how long? We know the normal process of this? No, it may take even 2 years if you go by the, because the AG office is abundant, redundant with so many other things. So